If you are not able to scale your application, you are bounded to the state, and if you are bounded to the state, that's really, really, really problematic for the cost, and especially for reliability as well. Like the moment that the state has an issue, you are.
By the way, we are hearing a lot lately about what Victor just mentioned. The thing that the application is not being looked at, and that requires to do as well, where possible, right? To start doing optimization at the software level.
And most of the time, let's say if I stick with the application example, right? Let's say that we come to the conclusion we should change parts of the application, rewrite something, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. FinOps is not the reason to do that. Right. FinOps is the best reason to justify it, right? Because the easiest way to justify anything is to say, if we invest this amount of money, then we will get this amount of money back. Right? That's the easiest way to justify it. But it's not really about FinOps. You don't want to scale because it's cheaper. Being cheaper is just a side effect. You want to scale because you will have no downtime releases. You will have better performance and so on and so forth. You will get many other technical benefits and also flow benefits and human benefits, many, many benefits. And all those benefits will at the same time result in lower cost.
And I want to highlight something that you mentioned there, and maybe that's a clarification that it needs to be needed, is that the FinOps is not just to make the application cheaper, to reduce the cost. The whole idea is to maximize the value that you get from each of the dollars that you spend. So
yes,
that's why you can do, and you can do FinOps, you can justify it with FinOps. I mean, and you can, it's the best reason in terms of in this specific term. Like you can maximize the ROI that you get for your application. And that's the whole idea. Like if you tell business, you tell your manager, the manager of your manager, that this application will make, I don't know, $50 more per user with the same amount of money, that's enough justification to do any change that you need if the cost that you said, the human cost and infrastructure cost, will be worth. So if you are improving these KPIs and these ratios that we are seeing now, it's a very hot topic as well in FinOps. Once you are improving that metrics that are related to business, which is the important thing, that's all the justification you need for your manager, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's great. No, it's because it's a very hot topic, because sometimes, DevOps and certain people will think like, yeah, it's only because to make it cheaper, but it will make it less reliable, and it's not to make it cheaper. It's to make it much more efficient in terms of business returns.
Exactly. I mean, I think that both of us are actually talking about the same thing, just not maybe using different words.
It could be.
But yeah, it's not about, I think that we both agree, it's not about reducing cost. It's about being better, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And at the same time, that reduces costs. Great, right? But yeah, it's about your users accomplishing the same outcome faster. That results in more income, right?
Yep.
Hey, if Amazon can make me buy something in 15 seconds instead of 5 minutes, that's a business value, right?
Yep.
And for them to do that, their site needs to be lightning fast. It needs to happen like this. I'm not waiting for anything. I'm just shopping like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you accomplish that by your application simply being better in many different ways, faster, whatever the better means, right?
Yeah. And regarding this topic, because I think it's very interesting to continue conversation, and now that we are recording this in a very, shopping amount of the calendar, in a very shopping date, in terms of especially load testing and scalability and costs, like because that's what you're saying, right? There is no good in Amazon that for reducing the cost, they will reduce the amount of orders that they will get on Black Friday, because they are selling like crazy, or any other, company. So how do you think this load testing and this curve of costs and users should be considered on the load testing, DevOps side, especially in the Q&A and testing, when someone is testing like Black Friday workloads? you should consider like business metrics, KPI metrics also in this Q&A, this QA phase?
Yes and no at the same time.
Okay.
I think that testing is important, of any kind of testing, including load testing or performance testing. It's definitely important. But the only testing that really, really, really matters is testing in production.
Okay.
Right? Kind of until you reach production, you don't really know, because your tests will never be able to simulate the real scale. Your tests will never be able to fully simulate the randomness of your users and so on and so forth, right? I'm definitely in favor of test. I'm a testing freak, so I definitely think that everybody should be testing in any sort of way. But what is just as important or more important is testing in production. And when I say testing in production, I don't mean, hey, let's run our unit tests in production or load test in production. What I really mean is that is your observability ready for that, right? And can you really see what's going on? Can you predict what will be happening based on production? And ultimately, can you automate the actions behind those predictions, right? What you really want to accomplish, of course, you should be testing what will happen during Black Friday, before Black Friday, right?
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is for your observability and your automation that uses that same observability to be able to react, right?
Yeah.
It would be silly to say, imagine if Amazon would say, hey, we predict that for Black Friday, we will need million servers, right? Let's spin up million servers and have them running just in case. That would make them bankrupt, right? What they do have to do is that they tested things that are not necessarily related directly with Black Friday. Kind of, okay, how many nodes can we bring up online if the traffic increases, and how much does it take to do that, right? Oh, we can handle up to 100 new nodes with everything running, new replicas running in those nodes within, I don't know, 5 minutes time, right?
Yep.
If that's what you tested, you're ready, right? I mean, that's not the only thing, just to be clear. But
no, for sure.
Basically, you want to observe what's going on. Not you. You want machines to observe what's going on and be able to act accordingly on any situation that imaginable, right? I mean, it's never 100% like that. You can never predict everything, but that's the goal, really.
No, but that's a great point. You want to see that your environment can scale up and eventually make it efficient and make sure that the production is ready for, at least as much as possible, is ready for the real thing, right? Because as you mentioned, you cannot match it 100%, and even if you could, it will make you bankrupt, even if you're Amazon. This is interesting, an interesting view.
It's also a calculation, right? It's easy to make something that is the most performant, right?
Yeah.
And what I said before, let me spin up million nodes and stuff like that. It's also about the calculation. Okay, I want my users to have as good experience as possible, but not at any cost, right? So I would make a calculation. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to start spinning up nodes, not in advance, but maybe after I see that the traffic increases, and that will maybe make some percentage of users have slightly worse experience, but that reduction of potential experience and the cost is maybe lower than the cost I would need to pay for, and so on and so forth, right? The easy thing is to make it perfect. Not perfect, but kind of to make it, hey, everybody has great experience. Yeah. But I need to balance that cost versus return of investment, right?
Yeah. You cannot either way to have 100% CPU consumption, but you cannot do it at 20%, of course.
Exactly. So at least in Kubernetes, I feel that it of course depends on the size, but I would probably aim for maybe 80-90% resource consumption. Kind of that gives me a certain freedom without going crazy and saying, oh, 80% available for whatever happens. No, 10-20% is the reasonable amount of available resources that you can say, okay, if things start going up, I have just enough resources available to keep me going until new resources are brought to the cluster, right?
Yeah, and also very important, you should also consider the lower boundary for the downscale.
Oh yeah, that's usually what people forget, kind of. Oh, we were very successful. We managed to survive Black Friday because we were scaling up, and then a week later, kind of, but did we scale down?
That totally happens. Like everyone uses the HPA to scale up, and nobody put the cooldown stuff. It's like there are two parts in scaling. One is scaling up, but then you also have to scale down your replicas, because otherwise, if you are spending the same amount in Black Friday, then I don't know, a week after, your cost per user will be definitely a problem.
Yeah, kind of Black Friday, big success. Weeks after that, Black Friday, we went bankrupt.
Yeah,
that's a great point. We were talking with Guillermo the other day. We were talking about the same thing. Where is the limit, or where is that line that you say, okay, this is enough? Okay, this user experience is enough. We don't need to be perfect, as you say. We're just giving there is enough for the user to continue to operate in the system to operate. Yeah, and the user be okay. Eventually, this is only at peak times. It's not all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, that's the same thing like when we talk about availability in general.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time we talk about how many nines you have, 99 point, and then how many nines. Nobody ever, no sane person or experienced person ever talks about 100.
Yep.
Right? There is no advanced company that tries to make it 100, because simply there is a point after which the cost is simply too high. It's not worth it anymore.